welcome to another episode of the Revenue Focused Marketer, where we discuss anything and everything related to marketing as well as data. I'm your usual host, Hershey, and today we're diving deep into marketing automation, the engine room behind scalable growth. From email workflows to demand gen programs and lead nurturing, the right ops can really turn your marketing from busy to revenue building. Joining me today is someone who lives and breathes marketing. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Chris is currently the CMO at Deal Compass, and we're really excited to have you on the show. Chris, let's just start simple. For the marketers who are listening in who think automation means setting up a few drip emails, what should they really understand about the full scope of modern marketing automation?
Yeah, so I would say it goes a lot more beyond just the emails. Emails can be great. We've seen some success using those drip campaigns and different versions of them, but it's really
Mhm,
making sure that you're not over making it seem so automized that there's no personal level to it. So still making sure you have that personal touch to everything you're doing. You're not just hitting people on emails, you're hitting them on multiple different channels because things get
mhm,
lost very easily. And
mhm,
still making sure that it, like I said, it is very personal and it's not just, hey, some computer sending me an email every day and I don't really want to be on this email list anymore, things like that. So making sure that you're doing more than just beyond, okay, I set up a simple email campaign and I can leave it at that and the business will now boom because of one email campaign we did.
No, definitely. But email still ends up being one of the highest ROI channels, right? So,
Mhm.
and so many teams kind of treat it like a one-way blast. So, what's
Mhm.
working right now in email marketing that actually nurtures leads versus just annoying them?
Mhm. I think kind of like I said, that personal touch of we tried a campaign where we still added in some personal level to the campaigns. The base of the email was very similar for every person we sent it to, but made sure
Mm-hmm.
that people were put in maybe different buckets if they had a slightly different position at the company, or if the company was slightly different across different areas that we were trying to hit.
Uh-huh.
So making sure it wasn't just, hey, this is a base email blast of this is what we do, and we're not really invested in what you do as a team. So
Yeah.
really investing in what your clients and prospective customers are doing. So it's not just sending out an email blast of, hey, we're trying to sell you something, you should come purchase our product.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Let's switch gears now to demand generation with
Mhm.
paid, organic, and partner programs all firing at the same time. How do you tie them together with automation to kind of drive pipeline?
Mhm. Yeah, so we're exploring a few different options at this point right now as well. So we're looking into finding new demand using affiliate marketing, um,
Mhm,
which has been a big push for us recently. And I think that's a pipeline that we're really exploring more versus we were just doing our own paid marketing, whether we were paying for leads for our email campaigns or finding different versions of paid marketing on social media. And I think they can work well together where you can have your email campaigns still, you're paying for those leads maybe, but you still have other avenues that you're getting with your demand. So getting demand from social media through your
mhm,
affiliates, through multiple different channels, and it works well because maybe someone who got your email kind of ignored it, but then they see something again on social media that just happens to pop up on their feed. Now they're like, "Oh,
mhm.
I do remember this. I've seen this before. Maybe I should look more into this a little bit." So hitting those different channels can really reinforce your product with people.
Definitely, having those multiple touch points can really make a difference.
Mhm.
And kind of talking about one of the bigger issues a lot of CMOs face is kind of ensuring the alignment between marketing and sales.
Mhm.
Do you have any advice for how can we kind of stay on top of that and make sure, especially when automation is also in the process, how can we make sure that the journey is more aligned?
Mhm. Yeah, so as in my position right now, because we are a startup, I'm juggling a lot of different hats. So I'm
Hmm.
heavily involved in sales as well, and that's a
Oh,
problem
wow.
that we've run into. And so really making sure we've hit them on the marketing side, we've brought in the demand, we've brought in however we may have found them through whatever channel, but then flowing easily into the sales cycle. So really also finding ways where maybe we can automate our sales process in different ways where they don't have to
Hmm.
necessarily be talking to us 24/7 to close a deal. Um,
Yeah.
but still making sure that we know who we're working with and keeping that personal touch to it because that is something that we think makes us stand out. So
Hmm.
still meeting with them, making sure that they know we're here with them every step of the way. In that sale and having it flow easily and getting all their information from that first touch point of outreach all the way to them meeting with us to then closing so that we have all their
Hmm.
information that we need to make sure we're selling them how they should be sold and helping them in every way possible.
Definitely. A question that I get asked often is like, what kind of tools should teams that are just starting to scale their ops should kind of prioritize? So, do you have any hot take on this?
Um, well, as a company that is a CRM, we obviously love our own tool, Deal Compass, but we are very much real estate focused. So we use our own tool for a lot of our stuff, just in terms of contact management, things like that. But there are many different email tools out there as well that work very well. I don't know if I have necessarily a hot take. I've seen a lot of different ones that work well. We've
Hmm.
used different ones. I've used different ones in previous campaigns for previous companies and people. So I don't know if I necessarily have a hot take. I think it kind of just whatever fits your workflow the best,
Hmm.
which is why we are a real estate focused CRM because we felt there was no one really meeting that real estate workflow the way it needed to be met.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what we built ours out for. But there are many different campaigns and apps and websites that can help you operate how you please. And I think just making sure you don't have the overload of, oh my goodness, this website offers me so many different tools and features, but you don't necessarily have to use all of them. You can use what fits you, what is going to work best for you. You don't want to get so lost in all the minute details that you're losing the big picture of we're trying to get leads, find demand, and eventually close these deals.
No, definitely. I think you kind of talked there about like, having that personal touch really
Hmm.
makes a difference. Um, in today's world where AI is being used for a lot of these aspects,
Hmm.
how can we kind of ensure that that personalized touch is still, there? Do you have any thoughts on like, how AI is really changing this side of the game now?
Yeah, AI is definitely changing it. I'm not the crazy tech person. I'll be the first to admit that. So I don't understand necessarily all the minute details of AI and how it's functioning. I'm not the one coding it, but it definitely takes away from some of it in certain aspects. But it can also be extremely helpful. It's helpful to us to find information a lot faster than other things, or how we used to do it. It's helped us find leads. Helps us in a lot of ways and can help
Hmm.
marketers, better improve whatever their campaigns are doing, or look at the data and say this is where we fell short, maybe with this campaign or that campaign. But it does take away the personal touch sometimes if you're overusing AI to write every email and respond to every piece of communication you have with a potential client or a current client. So it definitely can take away from it, but at the same time, it's a very helpful tool that can help you be more productive in your business in many different ways and keeping you organized and just helping you break down data and better improve multiple different areas of your business.
Definitely. And like, what are some common trap real estate teams fall into when it comes to automation? Because, you're focused in this industry. I'd
Mhm.
love your take on that.
Yeah, I think some of them do try to overcomplicate it. Kinda
Hmm.
like I said, they get lost in all these tools and they think it's the greatest thing in the world, and even in this case, going back to AI, they're like, "Well, we don't have an AI integration at this point. We are looking to add one," but they're like, "Well, we just want AI to do everything for us." And it's like, well, then you're losing the whole point of your business because you don't understand the business either. It's helpful, but you need to still understand what's going on within your business. And that's why we don't have a million tools. We're trying to just keep it simple, get them directly to the point, measure what they want to measure, track all the leads and everything they want to track, and keep all their tasks and everything organized. And so that it's simple, it flows smoothly, but it's also built out to where they can customize it to how they work. Um, and I think that's the biggest piece, kind of back to that, finding one that helps you work the way you work. Everyone's slightly different. Everyone runs a workflow slightly differently. And so that's the biggest piece, and a big trap that people fall into is, hey, we're using a tool, we're using this AI, and it's forcing us to work this way, but I don't like working this way. It's inefficient for
Hmm.
me. It's not working properly. And so that's kind of the detriment of maybe using AI, or the trap they're falling into of, hey, we're just going to let it do everything for us, but then we have no clue what's going on within our business.
Yeah, no, definitely. And another aspect that I've really been hearing in the industry when it comes to marketing is ROI. There's a lot of like, even a new role of CRO that's been
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
popular lately. Especially for teams that are trying to focus and move forward from marketing being a cost center to sort of, investment.
hmm
There's been a lot of focus on ROI. So, what are your thoughts on, like, how can CMOs really ensure that they're able to prove the ROI of their marketing, especially when there's, multiple channels that you now kind of need to focus on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely needs to be broken down by different channels, to look at kind of, hey, like what channels may be the most successful, maybe where can we invest more money in these. But kind of like I mentioned earlier, the multiple touch points are big, and you can't always necessarily track that it's the same person who you hit twice because the channels are so different or whatever it might be. But it is important to have the multiple touch points, and you can prove that, these people, it happens with me all the time with even just basic products that I'm buying every day, of like, hey, maybe I saw this in an email, or I saw this on one social media platform, and then it popped up on another, or it popped up on Google, and
Hmm.
now I know what that product is. I've seen it, and now I'm more interested in it because it's familiar. um, and I think that's a proof in itself of, you can just relate it to, everybody's had that experience before. And so I think
Hmm.
that proves pretty well that, you need these multiple channels, even if one channel is maybe slacking a little bit compared to others. But then also breaking it down by channel, seeing what's doing the best for you and your team, and then being able to invest more money possibly in that channel, because that's really where you're seeing your growth, seeing a lot of that revenue come from.
Hmm. Definitely. Kind of talking about lead nurturing here. What does lead nurturing really mean to you, and specifically at Deal Compass?
Yeah, kind of again, just keeping that personal touch, but making sure that, you're really walking with those leads the entire time, finding them, ensuring that you have that connection, especially as we're a smaller company. It's, I want them to know that I'm going to be that we're there with them every step of the way. They can send me an email, shoot me a text, do whatever it might be, and I'll get right back to them as soon as I can. Even on my busiest days, making sure I make time for these people, that, especially if we're just beginning talking to them,
Hmm.
and ensuring that they know that you're there for them, and you're not just a number or a random name on an Excel spreadsheet that you're reaching out to. Because there should be that personal touch to it, and that level of, hey, we, at the end of the day, our goal is to help you improve your business, and we want you to know that. And obviously, yes, you're helping us with our business and making us money,
Yeah,
but we are
yeah,
helping you, and that's ultimately what we're in the business of doing.
definitely. And is there such a thing as following up too much? Like, do you have a golden rule for what the right frequency it is to kind of engage with your audience?
Um, yeah, I wouldn't set a number. I wouldn't say a specific number of follow-ups we've set, would, as like, oh, this could be followed up too much. A little bit of a feel thing, at least in my opinion, of, hey, okay, we've sent a few messages in the past couple weeks. We can probably let that sit for a minute or two, and then follow up in maybe a month or so, or a couple months, and see how it's going. But yeah, definitely you need the follow-ups. I mean, emails can get lost pretty easily if you're going back to email marketing. Um, these people are busy. A lot of the time, it's not intentional that they're ignoring your emails. And
Hmm.
so following up is always a good thing, sending a few follow-ups, and then kind of maybe letting it sit for a little bit before following up again, and just, hey, would love to continue talking about this. But yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily a golden rule or golden number, but definitely feeling it out of, I'm not going to send 10 follow-ups 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
Uh, but making sure I am following up every few days at first and then letting it sit for a little bit longer.
Makes sense, definitely. And as a CMO, like what are maybe the top three marketing metrics that you gotta check on every week, and why are they so important for you?
Yeah, so definitely, we look at ROI quite a bit. Just
Hmm.
like, hey, if when I'm talking to my CEO, kind of, hey, what are we looking to maybe change up now? What new channel, and okay, what would be our ROI on this channel potentially? Things like that. Um, ROI has been big with our new affiliate outreach, trying to determine what the ROI could be on that because we are paying out to the affiliates.
Hmm.
In terms of our email campaigns, we look a lot at the open rate and response rate quite a bit. We've seen those dip at different times, trying to figure out, okay, what did we change maybe in the email that made this dip quite a bit compared to last time,
Hmm.
which I think is big. And then also looking at, because we still are running our sales meetings and talking to every client at this point that comes in, um, how many of those can we convert from maybe a response to then the meeting with us, a sales meeting, just to make sure that, like you said, you're connecting that marketing to sales and it's flowing easily. Because it's great if they're responding, but if all the responses are negative and they don't want to talk to you, then you're really not doing anything with it. So making sure that not only is our message worth responding to, but it's really hitting home and getting them to say, okay, we want to check this out. We want to look in more into your product.
No, definitely. And what do you think are like, maybe common mistakes people make when they're trying to measure marketing success?
Yeah, I think a trap I fell into very early too was like um, a lot of a lot of that. Oh, well, our response rate is super high. This is great, or our open rate's super high. That's great. But then it
Yeah,
was like, we haven't converted anyone. Like no one wants to talk to us. No one wants to sit down and actually look at the product. No one's using the product. And I think that's an early trap. Yeah, this is great. You're at least getting a little bit of an in with these people, and maybe they'll come back later. But it's not the ultimate goal. So not getting too deep into one or two metrics and remembering that the ultimate goal is eventually to have sales is really important. And all these other metrics are great, but at the end of the day, it's sales and ROI are the two most important things. And you need to make sure your investment is profitable and that you are closing those deals at the end of the day.
definitely. And like, a lot of companies fail early on in identifying their right ICP.
Hmm.
So, is there a strategy you kind of had when you were figuring that out for Deal Compass? And how do you kind of recommend going about, defining an ICP?
Yeah, so this was another struggle that we had early on because our product can be used across multiple different channels of real estate and even private equity and investment. And
Mm-hmm.
um, we still do think we can reach other customers outside our ICP, but early on, and since we are still fairly early on, of making sure we're hammering home that ICP, and that's helped us have more success recently. But it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
just sitting down and saying, okay, we've done our market research. Who is the most responsive to this product? Okay, this is who is most responsive. Does that match maybe who we thought would be? Do we need to change what our original thought of our ICP was? And really just continuing to ask more questions, as many questions as possible of ourselves and maybe people who are already using it, and seeing, okay, this is how they're using it. This isn't really how we thought they might be using it. So maybe our ICP is different than what we had envisioned. And that's kind of how we went about it. Is like we dove down. We've talked about it. We still talk about it. We've talked about it multiple times. Of like, okay, things are slightly shifting this direction or that direction, and just continuing to hammer home on those. And then if we find what we think is the ICP and we start reaching out to that group of people and it's clearly not, then being willing to pivot pretty quickly and go to the next group that we think it could potentially be.
Definitely. And as a CMO, what's your perspective on AI being used for targeting or like, customer insights? I'm trying to understand, like, what do you think is okay to use AI for in this day and age? And where does it kind of come to, like, crossing that boundary?
Yeah, I think we don't use I don't use AI to dive into crazy personal details of people or leads that we have. That's all done by what I'm finding myself. But using AI to find general things, like if you're using AI to help you define leads by area or like area of the country or different things like that that are pretty broad. I think that's
Mhm.
very much okay. Those are things that are widely available to people, but not using AI to dive deep into people's maybe more personal information. We definitely don't use that. I think that crosses some lines there, but using AI to do broad things or to help with the campaigns in general. Hey, like clean up my wording here, make this flow a little bit better, things like that. Uh,
Mhm.
Definitely something that AI is very helpful for and useful for. And I think breaking down the data of campaigns, AI has been great with. Of hey, we just ran these campaigns. This is all the data that we pulled from it in terms of like all the metrics that you have responding from it. Can you break down the data of what leads were most responsive, what leads um, we do poorly with, where can we improve, things like that. I think it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not diving too deep into maybe one specific lead with AI and having it run a crazy search on somebody.
No, definitely. And when we kind of talk about, the future of marketing, what really excites you?
I think AI itself is very exciting. I think it's exciting to have something that's very useful and helpful that's continuing to grow, and that can break down this data a lot faster than me scrolling through my Excel of all this data and all these numbers that I have put together. And I think it's exciting that it's just continuing to find new ways and new ways to reach people. I mean, social media is ever changing. There's so
Mhm.
many different channels, and I think that's part of the fun of it is like, hey, what's most successful? What can we play with here or there to make this a little bit better? And what we thought was going to be our most successful channel at first didn't work at all, and then the next one maybe did. And I think that's exciting to me. Of there's just so many different ways to reach people now, and so it's not just hey, we're going to send a few emails. And that's really the only way we can reach people is email and hard copy mail. Uh, that's the best thing and most exciting to me.
Yeah, definitely. And real estate is still so people driven, right? So do you see a place for AI here, or is it just too personal to, kind of not be impacted by AI?
I mean, I think there's definitely a place for AI. Kind of like I mentioned, of it can help more on the internal side of the business in the marketing, but maybe not so much on the direct outreach in terms of talking to people. It's always going to be very personal. People are always going to want to hop on the phone and talk to you.
Hmm.
Uh, Even if we're not clients, they're on the phone with their clients all day long, and so I think being on the phone with us is the same for them. Even though we're not their clients, it's very much the same, and they want to talk to us and get to know us and know who's behind the software they're using. And I think that's a big thing that is helpful and different about us is we want to have them put a face to our name. We don't want to just be a big software company that they have no clue who's behind there. They have no clue who they're
Hmm.
on when they need support. So I think that is a big thing of it should still be personal to an extent, and they should know who they're dealing with.
Definitely. And I guess reflecting back on your own journey, what's maybe a failure or misstep that kind of helped you grow, as a marketing leader now?
I think I dove too deep into certain minute metrics quite often early on. Of oh, this metric's so great, we should just focus on this. And I was like, well, everything else around it's failing. And I
Hmm.
think having people around me that kind of straighten me out and we're okay, well, that metric's great. Yeah, you're doing really great there, but that's not converting. And kind of that, like we talked about, that going from marketing to sales
Yeah.
and really being able to merge the two. Because when I first started, I was really only doing marketing and outreach. And then I started to dive more into the sales side as well. And I could see how it wasn't really converting between the two. And
Hmm.
once I was able to be more involved in both, I think then I started to realize that I needed to change things up and ensure that we were flowing smoothly from marketing to sales.
No, definitely. I think what you shared is like a prime example of also for why we worked so hard on our product at Dick Growth, because we wanted people to step away from sort of the vanity metrics
Mhm.
and be able to really focus on the ROI and what really converts. And I think it's definitely reassuring to know after our conversation here today also that, this is a growing need and something that definitely needs to be resolved.
Yes.
um I'd love to hear, what kind of personally keeps you inspired or keeps you learning in this fast changing world of marketing and
Hmm.
technology here.
Yeah. Um, I think one, I do truly believe in our product. So being able to go talk to people about a product that I'm passionate about and believe in is very helpful.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of the ups and downs of being a startup, and it's hard. And it's, you have the great days and the days that maybe aren't so successful. But I think that keeps me passionate because I believe in our product and that we can help people, and I truly believe in the people around me at our business, and that we want to create something that does change the lives of many people. And I mean, yes, we hope to be successful and have a very successful business that's very profitable and making a lot of money, but just changing the lives of people around us. And knowing that we know so many people in real estate on a personal level before we even started this, and seeing how they work and seeing how frustrated they get at times, and then knowing our current clients and talking to them and seeing that we've helped them in the same way of, hey, like, their life is so much less stress now. They understand things. It's going so much smoother. Is a
Hmm.
great feeling. And so knowing that we can help people beyond just being passionate about the product is also a great motivator for me.
That's wonderful. And, for our listeners that kind of want to connect with you or learn more about Deal Compass, where can they really find you?
Yeah, so dealcompass.co is our website. A lot of information is left there. They can either connect with me or our CEO, Matt, through the website. And then our LinkedIn is very active. That's probably our biggest social media channel. So
Hmm.
our Deal Compass LinkedIn or my LinkedIn, Christopher Salerno, is a very active LinkedIn page as well. So those are the best places to reach me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Chris, this has been such an exciting session, and I know I have gotten to learn a lot. So I'm sure our listeners will too. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and for our listeners, I guess just continue following us for, the best and latest advice on what's happening in marketing as well as technology. It's always such a privilege to be able to kind of, bring in new guests and talk to you guys, and kind of learn, new things in the process. So thank you again, Chris, and thank you to everyone for joining.